Along in West Virginia, na. Country roads take me home to the place where I belong, West Virginia. Dun dun dun. Take me home. Country roads. I turned on Do Not Disturb. That feels good. Just to know, life is always calling out to us. It's calling out to you. It's calling out to me. This is going to be podcast 8. This is December 10th. This feels like the date, the time for me to tell you this. As I'm settling in to the space, I just want to align. I'm thinking, still getting the feedback right. Trying to figure out how close I want this sound in my ear. This sounds pretty good right here. It's a good range. Maybe I crank this up. There you go. Oh, we should start the podcast after here. Okay. Country roads take me home to the place where I belong. In West Virginia, dun dun dun, dun dun dun, na na, take me home to the place where I belong, in West Virginia, na na na. Country roads. Dun dun dun. Yes. All right, podcast 8, December 10th. Thinking about you guys, thinking about the audience, thinking about what is it like to be on the other side of this. I wonder. I've been on the other side of it before. Many a times. So I know my purpose. I know why I'm doing this. It's crystal clear to me why this has to happen. And I have the uphill battle of making it make sense. And it might take a really long time for it to make sense for certain listeners. That's fine. We'll get there together because this is the now. Hey, give me the freaking keys. Do we not remember Give Me the Keys? So today's podcast, I talked about settling in on a couple podcasts ago, and I think today's going to be the first hour-long podcast. I don't think I'm striving for that. I'm striving for an hour-long podcast. Maybe I'll fall short at 40 minutes. I don't want to get too caught up on the time constraint. It's useful to put a time constraint on some task. It's like setting a goal. Everyone knows SMART goals. You got to put a time measurement or attainable, whatever the words are. Time can help you reach your goal. It can help you get somewhere quicker. Elon Musk talked about that. Like, if you give yourself 30 years to build a company, it'll take 30 years. If you got to do it in 6 months, you'll make it happen. So time constraints are useful. I liked putting 20 minutes on it. It did feel a little compressed. Like every podcast basically come up on 20 minutes. I was like, I just don't know if I was enough time to let me really get into and flesh out. That has a mixed connotation, to flesh out. Ugh. But to maybe I'll expound, explore ideas, and actually create more dialogue and intel to you, the listener. Keeping the listener and the audience in the foreground of my mind, realizing this is a two-way street. I don't want to get to, in an hour-long podcast by yourself, I don't want to get too off topic. So I got some topics for us today. It's a great day. I mean, Sunday, praise God, man. I didn't even wake up. That's the funny part. Is today I didn't sleep. I did not sleep last night. I stayed up. I was in the stew as I am now. Ideas were flowing. I was mixing a beat that I'm working on with a couple really good friends, Zay and Coin. You know who you are. Give me the keys. They're on the board because they have to be. Was mixing some songs. By the way, guys, I got to send you the updated file because I did some work on it last night. But so I never slept. Listened to an hour-long lecture. It was like an hour and 20 minutes. It was JP. It was back from 2017. I listened to that. So anyways, just trying to kind of give context to you guys. I don't know what you're doing on your Sunday. This is my Sunday. This is where I'm at. This is me realizing I'm allowed to feel this. I'm allowed to say this. And it's really important that I say it to you. So important you hear this. It is so important that you get what I'm saying here. Okay? So an hour-long podcast. I do have some show notes. They're helpful. You know, I dogged on show notes early on, but hey, get you some show notes. So I already know what I want to talk about. I don't need this, but it's a nice just framework. So I already addressed the audience. Who are my listeners? Who are you? Who are you listening to this? You're on YouTube. I know that. You're a person that interacts with YouTube. My hope is that you're somebody that uses the little chapter feature on YouTube. If you know how to if you're into long form content, if you're a thinker, if you're in the type 5 Enneagram, if you're a psychological person, you're in the right place because I'm a true type 5, they say. But this isn't about the Enneagram. We can move on from that. I love personality tests, though. Different day, different topic. I'm staying on topic today, everybody. Already dressed. Hey, give me the keys. What does it mean? Give me the keys. Maybe I should know. Oh, do I want to spend time on give me the keys? I already talked about it. Let's keep it moving. You guys already know what it is. AZ, stop. Turn this off, dude. Stop recording. Dude, I'm freaking out. Please give me the key. I'm freaking out. I have to leave. I'm going to the car. Give me your keys. All right, recap time. Boot, doot, doot. I really, really would like to recap the last 3 weeks of my life. I think while it's fresh on my mind, I'd rather recap the trip that I just went on with my dad. Since everything's really fresh on my mind, I actually want to let's isolate the trip I just went on, the road trip slash trip. It was a trip with my dad. So, man, let's get into that because that was fun. So the trip, so much happened. Short amount of time, lots of change in scenery. So I went on a one-on-one trip with my dad. We both flew to LAX. I flew from Colorado. He flew from CVG back home in the greater Cincinnati area. So we met up in LAX, and it was cool. My dad has been traveling there a lot in the past, I guess my whole life, really. He's done road trips. He likes Route 66. He's into cars. He likes the concept of the open road, of just not having a routine, listening to music. So he's taking my sister out there. Early 2000s, I was real small. He's taken my niece, Callie, there. My niece's name is Callie. I'm assuming my sister named her after Callie. She did, because my sister went there. I mean, geez, connect the idea. Simple. And then he's taken my little brother there a bunch of times, a handful of times in the past like 4 or 5 years. So I think it's a good bonding thing, but we haven't done this trip yet. And so this trip meant a lot. I think it meant a lot to both of us. And man, it's funny how our relationship to our parents changes as we get older. I mean, if you still have your parents, it's such a gift. Man, it makes me sad thinking about not having my parents. And there's a lot of people in my life that don't have their parents. They don't have their parents, and so I try not to take it for granted. I try to actually. This trip meant a lot to me. So anyways, me and my dad, we fly into LAX. I mean, I come from Colorado, so I'm dressed warm. You know, it's cold out here in December in Colorado, so I show up to LAX and I am so hot. Like I feel the humidity. I forget about humidity in Colorado. We don't have it up here at 6,500 feet above sea level. There ain't a lot of humidity, but we fly into LAX basically at sea level. And I was hot. So I saw my dad. We hugged. We do hugging now. It's important. So we spent the first 3 days in LA, around LA. If you follow me on Instagram, posted pretty much a lot of the highlights of where we went. I don't have to be too redundant on, I think the more interesting part of the trip was, there's a lot I could get into. So I'll briefly get into this, and I think this will inform what the trip signified to me in regards to just my relationship with my family. So a little bit of backdrop. It's always been really hard for me to be myself around my family. It's always been really hard. I had a good childhood. Everything was gravy. Some things, very minor things. Nothing serious happened. I had a great childhood. Great family, great household. I had friends in the neighborhood. My parents took care of me. They loved me. They taught me how to be upright. They provided. They gave me platforms. I played football in 7th grade. I went to college. They've always been super supportive, and but I'm very different from my family. I'm very different from them. And so there's a clear point when I moved out of my house. I mean, I moved out at 18 to go to college. I moved away 3 hours, and that was like different person. I am a different person when I'm back home under my parents' roof, in their household. I just revert back to kind of being a kid, and that's when you're 27, you can't go back. Once you leave and you experience the world and you experience the ups and downs of adulthood, you can't go home and pretend you're just a kid. You can't. But we do. We fall into that. I fall into that psychological, just revert back to being a kid. But so anyways, this trip was fun, and the trips I've gotten way closer to my family by moving away. As crazy as that sounds, because I've developed and I've progressed in areas. I've surpassed my family in understanding. I've surpassed my parents in understanding in some areas of life. I do life better in some areas. It's this unique duality when you become older and you still have your parents and you're able to actually teach each other things. Like have an equal relationship. Everyone knows this as you get older in college and you start going home from college. Hey, you ain't filtering as much. Hey, mom, dad, I smoked a joint last week. What'd you do? You don't care too much about your parents because we grow up, and when you're a kid, you're all fearful that they're going to figure out who you are. Like, my parents think we're going to, just kids do things and parents aren't cool. We all know this. I'm talking like middle school, high school. We do things we don't want our parents to know. Everyone knows that. It's not new information. Even to you, mom and dad, if you're listening to this, you know now. So anyways, so it was just a cool trip for to be in a neutral place with my dad and just to like be the latest, greatest version of myself for my dad. to challenge his ideas, to be more vulnerable, be willing to like explain how I feel. Feeling. Don't forget, man. Do not forget to feel. This life, we can think or we can feel. And I'm trying to feel more in my life. I'm really trying to feel more. Not think too much. I'm great at thinking. It's time to feel. Okay? Podcast. So what was LA like? I've never been. I'm sure some of you guys have been there. There's not as many homeless people as I was imagining. That's one of those things you hear from people that live in California. They're homeless. I didn't see them. They were there. Obviously, they were there, but we didn't go to Skid Row or anything like that. But normal society, normal. It's not as like crazy as you think. It's very stimulating. I'll close my eyes here and I'll reimagine being in LA. I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's very bubbling. It's very stimulating. It's very pretty. The weather's obviously nice. There's cool cars, fast cars, sleek cars, luxury. Luxury's everywhere you look. Gucci, Prada, everything designer, Rodeo, Hollywood. It's all very cool, this idea of celebrity. The idea of being in a bubble where celebrity has emerged as a ethos in the community. Very cool to just be in it. I remember waking up and just being like, who am I going to see today? Maybe I'll see Bill Maher. Maybe I'll see Rupert from Survivor. Maybe I'll see a comedian I know. Hey. Didn't see anyone famous there. I saw the Walk of Fame. I guess there were a few times when I was like closing my eyes over a star and I was picturing the person breathing from the same longitude and latitude that I was standing in, which was like, I'd say that's getting pretty close. But I did see one homeless guy and he was dressed nicer than me. He had leather jogging pants, but he was homeless. This guy's homeless. He had leather jogging pants. He was walking in front of me, and I didn't want to judge too hard. I said, okay, maybe he's just been rolling around in the dirt. Most people, it's kind of odd to have leather jogging pants and then they're covered in dirt and one of them's ripped. So anyways, I knew he was homeless when he was up ahead. We were kind of walking down the Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he was mumbling to himself. The irony of that, I'm talking to myself. This is a logical, coherent, intellectual thing I'm doing here. But this guy was alone. He was walking down the street. He was looking up at this guy, he was gibberish. And then he walked over to a trash can, picked up a cup, and just drank whatever it was. That was the telltale sign. And that's when I was like, he's got style. I realize style isn't exclusive to people that have homes, people that have houses. I don't even have a home. I have an apartment, but let's say he doesn't pay rent. Let's say he doesn't pay mortgage. Let's say he doesn't stay with anybody. Let's say he is sleeping in the streets. Let's say he is. Let that man drip. He can have his drip. That was cool. He did well for himself. He was doing well for himself. So anyways, Las Vegas. Nope, I wasn't. Well, we'll get to Las Vegas. I jumped the gun there. Anything else about LA? Let me close my eyes again and really think. The palm trees, tall palm trees. The architecture. If you drive up in the hills, the roads wine and dine, dude. The houses are immaculate. I love how compact, and they just squish so much life into the hillsides and just architecture right on a tiny little road. You pull, and then there's a nice car in the driveway. It's just like, and then the spirit of of fame is in the air as you drive through, and you're just thinking, man, who lives here? Jack Nichols, I saw his house. Jack Nicholson. Eddie Van Halen, a place where he played. I went into a guitar store, Norman's Rare Guitars, and I was in the same little guitar shop that Post Malone was in back in, I think it was around Stoney, maybe after that. No, definitely after Stoney. He had short hair, he just got the Always Tired tattoo, so whatever era that was. But anyway, I mean, I was just occupying the same space as celebrity. That's really the appeal of all of Hollywood and everything in it. So yeah, I mean, that was just the appeal of LA. What else was it? I remember me and my dad, we were coming around a bend in the mountain. We were in Topanga, which is just north of LA, Topanga Canyon. And I remember we came around this corner, and we're in the mountains. It's rustic. The vegetation, the foliage in California is beautiful. And then we came around the corner, and I could see the ocean from up high. And I realized, I've never seen the ocean from so high up. I've never been in a terrain or a geography where there's ocean and mountain. So that was cool, seeing ocean from on high. And then driving too. I mean, it was cool. So anyways, that was fun. Grateful for that experience. Stayed in a regular hotel. My dad still got on my nerves every now and again. I mean, some things never change. And then we drove through Death Valley. Which is on your way to Las Vegas. If you're in LA and you got to get to Vegas, take the Death Valley way. That's your way. So we took Death Valley. Me and my dad are driving. Imagine this. We got white SUV, 2023, Apple CarPlay on the dash. Me and my dad. He's driving on passenger seat. We're listening to John Prine. We're listening to music. We're showing each other music. I'm playing my oldies playlist, and my dad just couldn't believe that I knew songs that are back from when he was my age. Crazy. We talk. We share ideas. We don't say anything. We're silent. We're just driving, listening to music. Father like son. We were together in Death Valley. And it was fun. We got snacks. Man, a road trip, pulling up to the gas station on a road trip, you're just like, let's go. About to get in this bathroom. About to release this. And then I'm going to peruse the aisles for some snicky snacks. What they got? Oh, they got Grippos? Oh, no, this is out west. That's a back home thing in Cincinnati. Oh, Flamin' Hot Cheetos. I love them. But they make my fingers super red. And sometimes they hurt my stomach when I eat the whole bag. So, baked Lay's, Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Okay, 35% less fat. Okay. Yeah, give me that. Okay, take that. Coffee sounds good. Even though it's the middle of the day, might as well get some coffee. I'm not gonna pull up on the machine. This is the nicest gas station I've ever seen, but let me wander on over to the cold ice section coffee. See, Starbucks, white mocha, coffee, vanilla. Man, give me just straight coffee, dark green label. Give me that Starbucks, clickety clack it clickety clack as you pull it out. Okay, baked Flamin' Hot Cheetos in a Starbucks, and you feel good because you went to the bathroom. That's stopping at a gas station on a road trip. So anyways, Death Valley was amazing. It was cool. It was vast and open and colors I'd never seen before from the earth. Earth was on some other stuff with the spectrum of pigment. But the really cool thing, and man, I was beating this is my greatest regret of the trip, hands down. I'm telling you this right now. We were in this desert valley, Death Valley is what it's called, and the it's not Area 51, but jet pilots, firefighter jets, super fast jets that are attached to the military will come flying through the canyon for practice. It's like they train there, I guess. Anyways, I mean, my dad told me that, and I'm like, oh, I'll be on the lookout for that for sure. And so, 10, 15 minutes pass, and we're coming up to a stop sign. We're about to make a left turn. We're in the valley. It's wide, open, vast, sunny. Not a car in sight. No one's around. Tumbleweed. Now you see it. We make a left at a stop sign, and I can see, I'm in the passenger seat, and I can see up ahead to our right, like 1 o'clock. I see a jet low to the horizon, and he's coming quick. And I'm like, oh, Dad, look. Roll down the window. Oh, iPhone 15. Let me get this real quick. Pull it out. Swipe to the right for the camera. Video. Oh my gosh, it's going so fast because it's a jet. I'm positioned perfectly outside the car door, and I'm getting it. And this thing comes soaring over. I mean, he basically is showing off. Like, he comes in so low, so fast. I mean, I've never seen anything like it before. And I remember when I had my phone recording, I was like, I'm going to actually see this with my eyes. I'm going to make sure that I actually see this with my eyes. So I saw it. I felt the sound. I mean, the afterburners when it passes you, and it was just gone so quick, and the sound and the dust coming up from it. It was an experience. Man, it was so cool. And just watching it fly away. I mean, me and my dad are mesmerized. And I'm like, cool, I got that. Look at my iPhone 15. I didn't hit record. I missed it. iPhone 15 missed it. And I knew the only reason it really bothered me is because I knew that was the odds of that taking place. That was like the stars aligned, because we slowed down to stop. So it was like I was in position. If we had seen it, we were driving 65, I would have had to record through the front windshield, and everyone knows that's not as cool. It doesn't look as good. And then if I gotta lean out the window, he's got to slow down, and I'm going to roll down the window and then lean out. The wind's going to be blowing. You can't even hear it. So the fact that we had come to a stop sign randomly, the road ended, and we were like, anyways, it bummed me out, but it was cool to see, super cool to see. Kept driving, found some sand dunes. There was a drone out there. I tried to sprint. I got tired. I did a time lapse. Super cool. And then we get to Vegas. Pulling up on Veg. Venetian. It was all right. So my uncle met us out there. My Uncle Steve. I mean, man, everyone's got an Uncle Steve. I mean, I can't think of a more uncle-esque name. Uncle Steve. We all got one. Maybe you got two. I had two at one point. Believe it or not. Anyways, Uncle Steve happened to be, it wasn't that he happened to be. He coordinated to meet us in Vegas. Uncle Steve he's my dad's brother, obviously. I guess that's not obvious. He could be from the opposite side, but now they're brothers. My Uncle Steve and my dad are 10 years apart, so same age difference as me and my little brother Aaron. So 10 years apart. So yeah, I don't know why I'm telling you that, but my uncle was there. Love my uncle. He's a cool guy. He's a straight shooter, that's for sure. He's like the most get down to business, but he's down to clown. He's got, I don't know. He's an interesting character. But yeah, he was there, and then his friend came out. His name's Bill. And it was fun. We spent 3 days in Vegas. You can imagine, well, don't imagine what took place, because you'll think of something crazy that didn't happen. It was PG-13. No, there was some. It was pretty PG-13 minus a few scenes. There was some stuff we shouldn't have seen. Anyways, not going to get into the minute details. We had fun. We stayed at the Venetian. It's the largest hotel in the United States of America. You could get lost in it. Beautiful architecture, just amazing things to see. The sights, the sounds, the glitz, the glamour, the sky, the floor, the culture. Vegas, anything can happen. Casinos, you go down the escalator, oh, you're looking up at a beautiful mural on the ceiling. Venetian, you're in. I mean, I'm sure Venetian's some sort of Italian. I mean, Palazzo, Venetian. It's like rich architecture, art, beauty, good food, little gondoliers or whatever they're called, little gondolas in the little river, and you're all inside. It's a crazy hotel. Look it up, the Venetian. Super grateful I got to stay there. Shout out Uncle Steve, the man with the plan, the man with all the points. My uncle. So yeah, we're all four at the Venetian, and we did what you would expect. You know, we ate good food. We did a little bit of gambling. We drove around. We hit a brewery. We played cards. We watched Monday Night Football, the Bengals versus the Jags. Shout out Cincy getting a win over the Jags. Jags are attached to the Colts in the division. The Colts are my favorite team. Shout out that one friend I had in 5th grade. You know who you are. You had that Marvin Harrison jersey. Put me on to the greatness that the Colts were when I was in 5th grade. Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, classic, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, Bob Sanders, Joseph Adai, classic. Jeff Saturday under center. Peyton Manning, the sheriff. Hey, let me get this. So getting a little sidetracked there, but so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, we were in the Venetian. We just hung out in the hotel one night. There was 3 TVs. There was one in front of the beds. There was a living room. So you walk down a few steps, there's a living area, another TV, and then if you walked around the corner to the bathroom, there was a TV inside the bathroom. So we had the game on, and we all watched it. And Cincy pulled it off. Shout out Cincy. They got a special place in my heart. I am from Cincy. I'm from Cincinnati area, 20 minutes south, Kentucky. It's easier to say I'm from Cincinnati, but anyways, that was fun. We got some good food. I paid $25 for an old fashioned at the casino. I went down there one night just to observe, just to be a fly on the wall in the lights, camera, action, the blitz and the buzz and the glitz and the slot machine. I mean, it was all there and everything was bright. I mean, the lights, it was cool. I was a fly on the wall just walking around the Venetian by myself. I mean, I needed some space for my dad at one point. I said, Dad, please let me just go explore this freely. Because my dad likes to direct a lot. He'll be like, hey, let me tell you this story. Let me point this out to you. Hey, he's like that. So, and I'm the way I am. I really appreciate time alone, and I need time to absorb the atmosphere and let some ideas push through because of the feedback of what I'm feeling and experiencing in the change of scenery and sounds. And I just want to take that in. So I was looking to grab a drink because, why not? And I'm down there by the casino. Apparently they give you free drinks if you're using the casino, if you're doing the machines. I didn't know that. I don't gamble. And so I went up to the bar and I just said, hey, how's it going, man? And then he was like, are you playing? I'm like, what? And I looked down in front of the bar at the Venetian, and there's a gambling game attached to the bar where your hands would rest on the table. And I looked down at it. I can never tell what the games are. I don't want to waste my money into this thing. And I was like, no, I'm not playing. But he's like, oh, okay. And in hindsight, it's silly because if I said, yeah, I'm playing, he would have got me a drink. But I was like, no, I'm not playing. Just sitting down. Gosh. And I go, all right, I'll get a old fashioned. And I don't know. He was just like, all right, cool. And I was expecting to pay for it. I mean, I was like, I'll pay, $12, $15 for it, whatever. And then he comes back with it. It's nice. It's a nice old fashioned. I mean, he did it right. This guy knew what he was doing. He works at the Venetian. And he's like, yep, that'll be $25. I said, oh. I said, okay, cool. Act like it was no big deal. Meanwhile, I'm like, what? Anyway, had that drink. Didn't really make small talk. I was kind of just wanting to just observe, like I said. So anyways, Venetian was cool. Got to see the Sphere. Man, the Sphere. Oh my gosh, the Sphere. Got spherical with my dad. And the most, I mean, what is the coolest thing about the Sphere? Let me think. One, it's an experience that starts from outside of it. So you'll be driving in Vegas and you're already aware of the Sphere. You'll drive and you'll, like, through some buildings, you'll see like this insane LED, like the curvature on it is so unreal. Like, buildings are normally, you know, sharp edges, straight, not made of lights. And this was they nailed it with the name. It was a sphere that was completely lit from, so the anticipation, the experience starts before you even get close to the venue. And then as you get closer, obviously pulling up's cool. You park the car and then you walk into it and you're like, oh snap. It's massive. I mean, it's cathedral ceilings. It feels like you're in a stadium, like an NFL stadium. Escalators, lights, concessions. I mean, it's all brand new. So it was really, really cool. But anyways, you walk into the auditorium and I could tell, I mean, my ears are trained. I know frequencies. I've been doing enough music and critiquing sound on a very, very finite, not finite, a very microscopic level of change in detail and sound. So my ears are pretty attuned. So anyways, we walk into the like tunnel and it's like whoosh, the silence suctions to your ear. It's like AirPod Pros noise canceling, but you didn't have to put in any technology. You walk into you're like when you go into a movie, you open the door from the hallway and then you're walking in and it's like, oh, it changes a little bit. This was like, you get sucked in. It's airtight, no sound, noise cancellation. Like all the concession behind you, it fades away. Ooh, okay, I'm walking in. Ooh. They did it right by, when you get in early, obviously you get in early and nothing happens. They just have a screen up. And they did it pretty good because they just had like a normal cinema size screen. Like they weren't using the full spherical screen. They had it like intentionally sized down to just what you're accustomed to, which was smart. Because you don't want to give it all at once. So yeah, we find our seats, me and my dad, and I start noticing like the design of the venue. I'd notice the amount of speakers. I mean, the coolest thing, I think the Sphere uses waveform synthesis, and you can give that a Goog. You can look that one up. It's called waveform synthesis, but I could already tell I already knew what they were trying to achieve when they created this as a visual. Obviously, visual's huge, but I knew the audio and the haptic feedback of what the sound system would do. I knew that would take it to immersion, because that's the most important thing. I'm obviously biased. I'm pretty big on audio stuff. So anyways, I just knew that they were going to have this thing dialed in. It's a sphere, so geometrically, from a mathematical standpoint, from just a pure audio waveform level, you're going to be able to tune it in pretty good to the, with just the massive amount of control they had at the level of speaker, because they had speakers behind you, they had speakers down in front of you, they had speakers on the left, they had speakers on the right, they probably had speakers like somehow in the dang near floorboards. I mean, the way that the ground was shaking when that elephant just stepped, and it was like, whoa, there it is. But anyways, they did it right. They created like a little 50-minute video of, I'm sure you could YouTube it and watch the whole thing from some loser on his phone that recorded the whole thing. But no, they did it right. It was like a story. They created a story. It's about two people, and it's they're in the future. And the resolution on the futuristic, just the resolution of the screen was insane. Like, it was crystal clear. Like, truly 4K, whatever it was. It was HD. It was the coolest, clearest screen I've ever seen. And keep in mind, at this point in the beginning of the story, they're still keeping the most of the screens black, besides this little itty bitty box that's like a typical standard movie screen that you go see at the cinemas. So they were keeping us in this little box. And then the story, they set the stage. They said, yeah, these two people, they're in the future, and we're going to talk about, it's called Postcard from Earth. So it's like the history of the Earth, how the Earth came to be, how humans interacted with the Earth, how we advance into the future. Super cool concept. But anyways, it gets into like some pretty, what you would expect, some landscapes, some like mountain ranges, and the way that they introduce the full capacity of the system that is the spherical screen, that is the haptic feedback, that is they had like air generators and you could just feel it. They launched you in. It was like you took off, just see ya. Like the whole auditorium was like, we flying. It was like we're in a pod soaring through space and over the mountain. It was just the way the screen just zoomed out from that little square, just flying over a mountain. You're floating, dude. And it's just the coolest, most immersive experience. And you get it without any headphones on. You get it without any eyeglasses. You get it. I remember just the wonder, the awe and wonder. And everyone felt it in the auditorium. It was so freaking cool. It was just awe of like, oh my gosh, this is where we are. Anyways, Sphere is dope. I think it was like $50 to see it. It's not expensive, but just the capability. I remember me and my dad, we left out of it and we were just thinking about, oh my gosh, the like capability of what's possible with that. How they could introduce, how they could like make you think like there's this is a messed up idea. I just thought of it, so I have to say it, but like they can make it look like the roof's like falling apart and caving in, and like they could get the guy to the left of you to like, he gets artificially designed and he like gets up and like says, I'm gonna shoot the place, and like it could turn into a fire. They like the psychological way it immerses you in whatever it is ridiculous. So I'm just saying, like, they obviously kept it like demonstrative, PG. It's some landscapes, it's for kids, there's nothing crazy, but it's a lot of culture. It puts you at a lot of cool angles and cathedrals, and just there's one point where you're out in the safari and there's like a tree and there's all these monkeys, and you literally have to turn your whole neck to see certain parts of the visual experience. Two people, no person has the same tracking pattern throughout the whole film, if that makes sense. Like two people, like me and my dad, there was so much to see and experience that we both probably saw completely different things on a various amount of scenes. So we saw different shows, but we sat right by each other. Like, it's just so amazing. I can't emphasize enough. If you're into audio, if you're into cameras or technology, or you like movies, or you're into just I don't know, go see it. Get to the Sphere. We all need to see that. But yeah, really cool. That was kind of the last little bit, and then me and my dad, we just checked out the hotel, and then nothing really too eventful happened. We just road trip back to, we went to, I guess I'll squeeze this in. My dad loves this part of the story, and I think it's funny too. But we went to through New Mexico. And then we went to Arizona. We went to Winslow, Arizona. And there's a song by the Eagles called Take It Easy, Take It Easy. Don't let the sound of your horn. And in the second verse, he says, I was standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. So it's this line, and they have the corner in Winslow, Arizona. Like, the whole town adopted this, like, all the Eagles mentioned us in one song. Town's identity. We are standing on the corner. T-shirt, standing on the corner. Hey, get it on a mug. Standing on the corner. I took a picture of it. It's cool because in the lyrics, he's like, standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. There's a red pickup truck with a girl inside. And what they did was they built the statue of the Eagles people, Glenn Fry. They're standing there on the corner, and then they actually have a permanent like red truck on the street and then the backdrop is like a brick wall where they painted a mural, and the girl, it's like on the mural behind him is the reflection of the actual prop truck that they have parked on there, and there's a girl in it on the mural. They really milked that song lyric. I went to Winslow, Arizona. Pretty average place, nothing cool there. And then we stayed at El Rancho Hotel. Yep. So yeah, I mean, and then we drove back. We drove back to Colorado Springs where I now live, and he stayed for the night, got to meet Remy, my cat, and then he left. He drove back. And now that brings us to where we're at today. Such a fun trip. Thank you, Dad, for that. Wonderful memories. So now we're at the point in this podcast where I do like that I was allowed to let that idea, that memory, that experience unfold. I felt like it was actually pretty coherent. It was a story. It actually happened. And it was fun to recap it, to like solidify it, because it was a good memory. And that's what podcasting will do, is it'll help you remember. Do you remember how to remember? Remember that. So anyways, moving forward. So the last little bit, man, what's happening right now? It's 9:29. I haven't slept today. It's Sunday, December 10th. I'm full of the now. The now's here. I'm in the now. I have to do some retooling sometimes to get back into this, and I will do a dedicated podcast to explain the experience of getting to this point. But for now, I just thought about it, being back home, and just with the trip in hindsight, I know it's about love. It's about being translucent, transparent, and being a vessel for love. Feeling over thinking. Thinking's important, but your brain's important, but your heart's more important. Your actual heart. And this idea of being in the now, when it latches onto me, when it takes me, and I can actually be a full body human, free of any hindrances, free of judgment, free of pain. My pain body's gone, and I'm actually like, it makes me want to cry. I've cried a lot the last 3 or 4 weeks. I've been crying in a good way. I mean, just tears of joy. I mean, John Denver. I've been listening to John Denver. This guy's story. I was up. So last night, this was a big part of why I stayed up all night. I just started reading about John Denver. You guys know John Denver? Look him up. Spotify that boy. That guy. That pure angel. That soul. That golden soul that blessed all of us back in the late 20th century when he was alive and making music. Man, John Denver, the song, I guess he'd rather be in Colorado, hit home for me. It's so daggone sad. He does, John Denver does, Country Road, Take Me Home. We know that one. He does Colorado, Rocky Mountain High. He does the Rocky Mountain High. But his story, John Denver, I've already decided that I'm going to write a piece on Medium about John Denver's life and his representation, and he is a perfect number 7 artist. I mean, he is just front to back, his whole life story, how he went about, how he made it, how he died. Everything about his life story is so meaningful, and I can relate to it. I guess he'd rather be in Colorado. He's got the song Poems, Prayers, and Promises. Poem, Prayers, and Poem, Promises, and Prayers. One of those combination. Great song. His range, his voice. Gosh, his voice is heavenly. And he died alone flying he was a pilot, and he died alone flying. And then in hindsight, just his life story, how everything. I was just on Wikipedia last night, just every section. Let me read this front to back, every single word. Did that. But I've been listening to a lot of John Denver. I made a playlist on Spotify. I'll share that with you. My listener, my beautiful listener. I'll share this with you, and just try it. It's only like, it's a little playlist. It's like maybe 8 songs, 30 minutes. And it's just the flavor of John. It's the Denver in this man. I mean, his beautiful songwriter, writes all his songs, plays the guitar. Acoustic folk. He's acoustic folk. I've been into acoustic folk over the last few years. I mean, just natural instruments, just real guitar. And his voice, man. Oh, inspires me. I don't have to feel negative in comparison to John Denver. He's John Denver. And when he died, Colorado has 2 state songs. They had one, and then when he crashed his plane and died, Colorado said, hey, Rocky Mountain High, that's the state song. And then he has a lyric where it's like, gather round the campfire and everybody's high. Rocky Mountain High. And apparently there was a controversy when the song was getting added as the state song. Some girl, some media, some journalist said, hey, this is about drug use. Everyone's around a campfire and everyone's high. Drug use. Can't be it. Can't do it. And then some senator, some politician in Colorado's government said, you got to read off Wikipedia, but this guy, he stood up for John Denver. He said, lady, I'll paraphrase. He said, lady, I don't know what you're talking about. John Denver encapsulates all of Colorado in the spirit. It's about friendship. Gather around the campfire and everybody's high. It's about the pinnacle of shared relationships and friendships and joy and pleasure and happiness in the mountains. It's high. It's the state's high. It's Rocky Mountain High. And he stood up, and that's the song. Rocky Mountain High is the state song of Colorado. And the song is so it's an archetype. The song is an archetype. I was explaining this to my dad. We were going back and forth. We like words. We get into definitions on words. What's the difference from an archetype and epitome? Epitome is more of a perfect example. It's more low level. It's more like practical. The epitome of something, it's more of a obvious representation. It's the quintessential example. Epitome is an example. E, example. Epitome is an example. An archetype is overarching. It's more abstract. It considers more data across time. An archetype is like a hero, archetypal hero, or arc, think story, like a front to back. So John, you could take advantage of both words. You could say John Denver is the epitome of what it's like to live in Colorado. That's fine. Or you can say John Denver's song Rocky Mountain High is an archetypal Colorado song. And with me being 27 when I moved here, I was 26 and I turned 27, and he talks about his life in this way in this song. I've been listening to the song since I moved here, Rocky Mountain High, but John Denver's, the rest of his discography caught up to me, and I'm like just feeling everything. I think most of his songs are in minor. I like sad, like chords, dark chords. His voice is so heavenly, it's so joyful and blissful, and then his little tunes on the chords and progressions that he uses on his acoustic, they're kind of sad, and then his lyrics are so good. Beautiful songwriter, a poet. Look up the way he does it is just, there was one, and I'll pretty much end on this on the John Denver thing. There was one, there's a video on YouTube, if you type in John Denver interview, he's on a talk show. He peaked his celebrity. The beautiful thing is he peaked when he was 27. He had this breakthrough. Wikipedia used it verbatim, this breakthrough when he was 27. So there's these parallels that are causing me to like be gravitating towards John Denver right now. But in the YouTube interview, it's the 70s. I think he was born in 43, and he peaked around 69, 70, which is when he was 26, 27. Anyways, he's on a talk show. He comes on, well-spoken, just the way he tells a story. No, you can see no fear in this man. There's no anxiety of public speaking. He doesn't have all that media negativity, brainwashing programmed in. This is a living soul, John Denver, on live television, which back then, TV was cool. Like, it was like fun. Now, the concept of being on TV is like so intimidating for some people. for me, I guess is what I'm saying. But anyways, John Denver, super comfortable. And then he gets up and he's like, all right. And the host, I don't know his name. The host is like, all right, we'll be right back with this. John Denver's going to perform. Cuts to a commercial. You actually watch the commercials from 1970, which is, they're kind of interesting. There was a mattress on a bed of water. Watch the commercials because it's a time capsule, time travel, time machine. Anyways, they come back, and John he's set up with his acoustic. He's got his backing bass and another guy playing a secondary guitar. And he's just standing there, and he's just singing his beautiful voice. No auto-tune, no processing, no echo. There was probably acoustics in the room, but just his voice, and just to do it naturally, and it flows out of him. And then in one scene, the song ends, comes to a close, good song. And you can see him like taking off his guitar, like walking over to the other side of the set, and then like the host is there and he sits down in the chair, and it's like he just got up and did that. Like he just said, all right, I'm gonna do this. Like he went from being a host on a show to just going and being that beautiful spirit, and then just walking back over and sitting down. There was no costume change. There was no flashing lights. He didn't have to put an earpiece in. He didn't have some guy run up to him, hey, you need some water? Like, he didn't have any of that. It was just him. And I love that. It's so different from what we do now. But anyways, I've been listening to John Denver. Let me, I think I'm coming up on an hour. So we did a lot of reflecting here. It's good to reflect. I want to talk about this now. Be in the now. Be in the now. It's not the worst thing ever to reflect, if you're doing it from a place of appreciation and love and striving to organize meaning of the past in a coherent way. That's okay. It's all okay. Whatever you do, it's okay. But so today's Sunday. I'm going to watch this Colts-Bengals game. Big Colts fan. Big Cincy fan. It's a win-win. It's really a win-win. I just realized that. And I just want to enjoy it. I don't want to make a prediction. I don't need to predict anything. I'm just going to watch it, see what happens. I really wanted to go to this game because it's in Cincinnati. And I was already planning on coming back home. I'm driving back home to Kentucky in 2 days. So on Tuesday, I'll be leaving here. Tuesday's the 12th. I'm staying in a hotel the night of the 12th. I'm going to be hanging out in Louisville the 13th. And then I'll be to the NKY on the 14th of December. And that's my good friend Kyler's birthday. Happy early birthday. I guarantee I'm the first one to wish you a happy birthday. I'd do that. But, yeah, and I can't wait to be home. And I really can't wait to be home. And I think, so the drive back is going to be a long one. It takes about 16 hours. So I have some time in the car. It's not even it's happening. I will do some polls. I will do some Q&As, some Ask Me Anythings, ask me a question, or pose me a problem. I wonder if there's a way for people to anonymously submit me their problems and then ask a question related to it. That's a great format. If you need a way to talk, it's in the form of a question. What do you think about blah, blah, blah? I have this problem. How do you think I should go about it? Or what is your take on chapstick? Or anything. I honestly don't care what it is, and I won't say names. I'll say the first letter of your name. So I'd say, okay, Kay writes in and she says, and that'll be it. I'm not going to we can keep it. It doesn't even matter who you are. It matters more that we're getting to the sentiments of what is meaningful in our lives and what we're going through, what we're feeling, all that good stuff. So I'm going to be on, obviously, Instagram. I'm driving back by myself. My fiance is an ICU nurse. She has a little more constraints on her time and work schedule. So I'm driving back alone, but I'll have Remy. I'll have my cat, Remy. He likes road trips. He sleeps in my lap. It's very cute. But I'll have Remy. I'll be on the road for long periods of time. I think best when I'm driving. I really get into it when I'm driving. And I'm bringing y'all with me on the IG. So I'm real particular about close friends. I actually change it a lot. If there's a day I'm going to be doing something I'll add and delete people from the close friends. It like alter. It's like breathe. Like it breathes. It fluctuates. Sometimes I'll say clear it, like, and I'll just post a regular. And then sometimes I get very particular about who's seeing it. I might keep it down to 20 people and see, oh, do these people interact? Oh, it's an A/B test. Oh, this person saw it and they don't care. They kept moving. They don't want to interact, and that's fine. It's no hard feelings. I just need intel. I need data on who are my listeners. That's important to do from a marketing, business, just understanding standpoint. That's useful to know. It's good to know. So I encourage anyone that, I mean, if you don't watch my, I don't even have to say that, because if you're the people that are listening to this, whoa, my mind got tangled there. I don't even know what I was just trying to say. Anyways, interact, say something, put something up there. Answer a poll. Click on a poll. Don't ignore it. Just don't ignore it. Like, they're not that hard to think through on the spot. Anyways, but yeah, can't wait for what's to come. I'm really looking forward to being home. I get nervous about coming home, but man, it's a beautiful thing, and I am just really grateful, and I hope that, wish me well, wish me I'm safe on the road. I hope I don't run into any snow, and love you guys. Girls.